Hello again. Welcome back to Portsmouth This Week. Today is the 17 March 2017 edition of our show, and I'd like to wish everybody out there a happy St. Patrick's Day. Aaron Gobra. Our guest today is Portsmouth Police Sgt Mike Morse, who's the Portsmouth Police Department's cybercrimes expert. Welcome back, Mike. I was looking back, and you were last here in September 2015. It seems like just yesterday. But welcome back to the show. This is interesting stuff. And just to get into this and set a framework, I wonder if you could discuss what your role is at the Portsmouth Police Department.
Well, first, I probably should have wore green myself. I didn't even think about it St. Patrick's Day. But thank you for having me back here, Doug. I'm glad to be back and have another opportunity, of course, to discuss cyber safety. Last we spoke, I think I was still in detectives. Now I'm the acting sergeant overnight. So if my head hits the table here, it's because I just got off
a shift, yeah.
So I'm a little tired. As part of my roles at the Portsmouth Police Department, currently I'm part of the accident reconstruction team. I'm on the crisis negotiation team, and most importantly, I do all the cyber crimes. I'm part of a task force as well. I manage the department's Facebook page and any social media page.
Wow. And
the website as well.
You got the full Monty of responsibilities.
I do. Oh, and so of course like us on Facebook, because I always ask for the likes when I'm on the show.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about cyber crimes. That's kind of the topic. How do you define cyber crimes?
All right. So cyber crimes, it's not the future, it's the now. Almost every day I receive messages, phone calls from somebody about a new case that has to do with some sort of digital media or some cyber aspect to it. I can't think of any criminal case or any case at all that doesn't have cyber involved in it nowadays. It has to do with, child pornography cases, solicitation cases, electronic dissemination of indecent material cases. We have online harassment, cyber harassment, sexting, online impersonation, and then more rare like network breach type cases. But to answer your question, the cybercrime I consider is when the tool of the crime would be a computer or the internet. The criminal is actually using that as the tool to commit the crime.
Okay. So it's got quite a broad application then.
It does, nowadays.
Just about anything I can see would be under your cognizance. What kind of training and what kind of experience and certifications do you have for this job?
Sure. So I've been very lucky. Since I'm part of the task force, they get funding to send all the members to trainings throughout, because cybercrime is so complex that we have to try to keep up. It's always changing, it's evolving.
Where do you go for training, actually?
All around the country. The grant from the task force, actually, they can send me anywhere. I'm going to Tulsa, Oklahoma in a week and a half for one of the cyber trainings. I've been to California, I've been to Myrtle Beach. Unfortunately, this time, instead of California, I chose Tulsa, Oklahoma, but it's still
but that's the training you need, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that training I'm going to go to, I'll actually be able to bring it back with me here, and I'll use it to generate new cases. So it'll be really, really good for that. The trainings I've been to, I'm certified in cellular device forensics, computer forensics, network intrusion investigation. So I've been to a lot. I've been to a lot of the conferences.
Okay, now are you the only person in the police department that's trained on this cellular forensics, which is basically being able to see what's on a cell phone, I guess, right?
Yeah, I am. So in Portsmouth, I'm the only one. There are others throughout the state that can do it, but a lot of the agencies in close proximity to us usually call me up to help them out, and the detectives in Portsmouth, they use me all the time to extract data from a phone, because I have the certifications in I think 3 different applications that we have down at the state police offices.
Okay, so you get specifically designed applications to help you work on these kind of issues?
Yep.
And the cellular device thing would be you're able to essentially pull all the data and information from someone's cell phone that's involved in a crime.
Yeah, so what happens typically is when we arrest somebody for a crime, we can, if we believe that there's communications on the phone that will provide us evidence against them, we can seize the phone. I'll obtain a search warrant for. I've done so many search warrants now; it's just second nature to me. And with probable cause, we take it to a judge. Judge signs it. I take it back. I take the device, and I can take it down, hook it up to the software, and that software will send a script into the phone and kind of mirror it. Extract all the data. We'll get the deleted data as well. which is great because they think it's gone. It's not.
Yeah.
And we're able to view everything. The most important part about that is that we're not touching the phone. We're not like going through the phone and leaving digital footprint through it. So if you don't do it forensically and you're looking through a phone or a computer for that matter, because it's the same thing, I use NK software to go through computers, you're altering the data. So if we have a criminal that, I don't know, has an image of child pornography, let's say, and we're not forensically looking at it, we alter like the access date and time and all that information. So how can you now use that in evidence against these people in court? You know,
Sure.
you better have documented when you went in there, because now it's all changed. You know, any defense attorney can say, well, that wasn't there when he had the phone, that was there when you had the phone.
Right, right, right.
So that's why it's so important that we forensically look through these devices.
Now, do you go to Newport for a warrant? Where do you all have to go for a warrant? You go to a judge,
Newport
right?
County, correct,
Newport
yeah.
County, okay.
Yep, so Newport County is our jurisdiction in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
But I'm sworn in as a task force member with the state police for the Internet Crimes Against Children.
Okay.
So I can actually, I have jurisdiction to go throughout the whole state, so I can go anywhere.
I'd like to talk a little bit about that task force in
Sure.
a few minutes. What kind of crimes, cyber crimes, do you see here in Portsmouth? Probably a little bit of everything, right?
We see a little bit of everything, exactly. We have the child pornography cases. Obviously, if I'm down at the state police offices and a crime comes in and it has to do with Portsmouth, it's mine. I own the case. So we get child pornography, we get solicitation, we get a lot of the juvenile sexting cases, or just online impersonations.
Cyberbullying and stuff like that.
Cyberbullying.
Yeah.
Most often in Portsmouth, we get cyber harassment cases. You know, because phones are now smartphones, so they're basically little computers, and when people are harassing somebody through that, it's cyber harassment, text messaging, apps, and stuff like that. So a lot of the domestic relationships we get is cyber harassment now.
Yeah. Now, is that against the law? Cyber
Absolutely.
harassment?
Now, if it causes the person to like sustain like substantial emotional distress, I think that's how the statute's worded.
Okay.
Then yeah, if they're in fear, or if this is like constantly annoying them and harassing them, absolutely.
Yeah. I can imagine there's a lot of different stuff out there too. What are you seeing that's kind of new? Are there any new ones? Because I'm sure that just like technology changes,
Yep.
the threat changes too, I guess, as time goes on.
Yeah, so technology, it's always changing. We're always playing catch up. The newer crimes that we have in Rhode Island, online impersonation, it's a new statute that was passed maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So that's when somebody will pose as you online for the sole purpose of you getting harassed. Right? If I put your name up and it's on a dating website,
They're using somebody's name fraudulently.
yeah, or some other personal identifying information. So that's a new crime. There's also the new crime of not notifying. We were talking about this earlier, actually. If a company sustains a network breach and a lot of people's data has been stolen, their personal information, then that organization is now supposed to notify people within 45 days that the network has been breached and that your information has been stolen. So that's a new.
Of course, you'd never know about it
well.
unless it was in the paper. Or something.
Of course, you'd never know about it unless it was in the paper.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what about stuff we were talking briefly earlier about this this ransomware stuff where people come in and take over your computer and want money to unlock it?
Yeah.
How do people deal with that? What do they do? Pick up the phone, not go on their computer.
Right.
To
So
try
ransomware has been around for a while, and I've been dealing with it for a while, and it keeps on changing. You know, what happens is you'll click on something, and it'll lock up your computer, encrypts all your data, and they ask for a ransom. It's ransomware. So hey, pay us, you know, X amount of money, and we will unlock all your data, and we're gone.
Right.
But that's usually not the case. So we always tell people, don't pay the ransom. To any organization or person, I would say back up your data. That's what you can do. You have to take steps to be prepared for something like this, because nowadays there are really just two types of people: those that know they've been hacked and those that don't know they've been hacked. Right. So you have to take the proper precautions and back up your data. Make sure, hey, if somebody gets into my network or my computer and locks all my stuff, I need to have it backed up somewhere so that I can just restore it right away.
And how do you get into it? It's like catch-22, you know.
Yeah.
If your computer's locked up, you can't get into it to erase it, right? I mean, to take all the data, you have to take your hard disk.
Yeah, I mean, you got to back it up before it's all locked up. So,
oh yeah, no, I understand
right.
that. But then, how do you get rid of the system that's on there? And it's all too complicated.
Yeah, you got to restore that to like factory. It's gone. Yeah, you just got to take it as a loss.
You have to find somebody, either a smart 13-year-old or an expert in computers to help you out.
That's the truth.
You know, I guess the other thing is we're at the age now. I have a 4-year-old grandson who basically uses his mother's iPad all the time.
Yep.
Just about every kid has some kind of device.
Yeah.
What do you tell parents? How should they be kind of monitoring what their kids are doing?
It's funny. So I have a 4-year-old daughter. Well, she'll be 4 in a couple of weeks. She knows how to use this phone and maneuver through my phone better than most adults. It's unbelievable. My mother-in-law, I mean, she doesn't know how to use this stuff, but my 4-year-old's like, Nana, look what I can do. And she goes to like YouTube for Kids, and you know, it's unbelievable. So I have kid-friendly apps for her. But hopefully when she's older, I practice what I preach. And what I always tell people is the best thing you can do is become familiar with the new apps yourself. You have to know how to use this stuff. Because if you don't, even if you're monitoring your children's activity, which you should be doing, you're not going to understand what you're looking at, right? So you have to become familiar. You have to download the app yourself, start using it, you know the ins and outs of it. I mean, if they have an app that is for the sole purpose of them being anonymous, what good is going to come out of that, right? I mean, for kids or adults.
Yeah.
If you're anonymous, what's going to happen? You're going to have cyberbullying. You're going to have sexual exploitation, harassment. These are the things that I see those apps being used for.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't be there.
Is this stuff like Snapchat, where your picture goes away or something? Is that one of the things you'd be... Now, the thing is, I know it's easy to say, monitor your kids' activity, right?
Yeah.
And that might be good up until the age of maybe 10.
Easier said than done, absolutely.
And especially once they get their own kind of accounts, they can download their own apps on their phones, and you don't necessarily know what it is. Yeah,
it's all hidden.
There's no easy way to fix this,
no,
I guess.
There's not. I mean, I guess you got to start young, and hopefully there's some kind of mutual agreement. I mean, if you're paying for the device, it's your device, right? So
yeah. But I think too, the idea of teaching them that it's dangerous, and that you need to have some sense of what they're doing to protect them in the future.
Education is key. So when I go around, I do like presentations to the kids. We do them for parents too. It's funny, we always show like, okay, this is who you think you're talking to online.
Yeah, right.
And then it's the actual guy, and it's, yeah,
I can imagine. So you do give talks to schools and things like that?
All the time. Yeah,
okay,
we go around the state. We do presentations at libraries, at schools.
That's great.
We do them for teachers and as parents as well.
Have you done one recently at our library? I'd like to, maybe I'll see.
I did actually. It was last summer.
Okay.
Megan Martinez, she's the program manager down at the state police. So she started a little tour, I guess, of all the libraries throughout the state.
Oh, good.
And when Portsmouth came up, of course, I gave it.
Yeah, I think that's great, because I think those kind of things that people can go to, take their kids to, say, look, you want to have a cell phone that I'm paying X dollars a month for, sit through the training here, you know.
I'd like to see a better turnout at them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because when I did it at the library, we didn't have too many people. I mean, I'm glad to see a couple show up, but we'd always like to have a bigger turnout.
Yeah.
So, and we do advertise it on our Facebook page and stuff.
Well, maybe we can help with that here too. So if you let us know, we can probably at least get the word out to the folks that are listening and watching today. Let's talk about phishing for a minute.
Sure.
How do you define phishing?
So phishing with a PH?
Yeah.
All right. So phishing is when someone on the internet is basically playing a con game. They're making themselves appear as a legitimate organization when they're not, right? So they'll look like legitimate banking email you'll receive.
Yeah.
And when you receive it, you have to be aware that banks don't really demand you to enter your information. And there could be misspellings in the email itself. There are different types of phishing. So what they want you to do is click on a link, and they'll lead you to another site or install malware on your machine.
Yeah,
that
as soon
way.
as you click on it.
As soon as you click on it. Or they could just, when it leads you to another fake website, a spoofed website, they'll want you to enter your information, your username, your password to your bank account, and you just gave it to them. And so that's what they're looking for. They're trying to take advantage of you to give them the information. We have regular phishing. We have spear phishing.
Spear phishing.
Spear phishing. Whaling is one of them. So spear phishing is when they kind of scour the internet looking for information about you, and they'll direct an email specifically to you. So, you know, if I know things.
So it looks like they have your data already.
Exactly, and you're more inclined to trust this email because you're like, oh yeah, this is something I do and something I know.
Yeah, right. Right.
Now whaling is when they go after the big fish, right? It's a whale, like a CEO, the chief of police. So that's, you know, directly targeted at the big name.
Yeah. I know after our last show I sent you several what I thought were phishing things that I got in my email.
Yeah.
And I guess the question was, what do you do with those? I mean, if people see something that looks, this guy's asking me for my credit card number or something to verify something, it's usually, and it looks like it came from either my bank or some other outfit that I do business with, but it doesn't look right.
Yeah.
So I send that to you guys. What do you do? Anything?
Well, so you're very good about it, right? You're aware.
Well,
so that's how everybody should be.
But I have to tell you, I stopped sending them because you know, you keep getting them. Yeah.
It's nonstop. So a couple things to look for in the email, like, as you know, the misspellings, the demands for money. If you hover over, the best thing you can do is like hover over the link, and on the bottom, usually left of the window, it'll show where it's actually going to take you. So it says www.bankofamerica.com. You hover over it, on the bottom, it'll show www.xyz123abc.com. So that tells you right there. Don't click. Don't click.
So just delete it.
Just delete it. With that said, you sending those to me helps me and helps others. Attribution in these cases is so difficult because they use things like Tor, the onion router, with so many layers of routers to go through that masking their true identity is so difficult to trace, and most likely it's coming from another country. But when you send it to me, I'm able to post it on a Facebook page or website so that others are aware. And as I recall, one of the ones you sent me and I posted, I actually screenshotted the whole email. People loved it. It hit like a couple thousand people had views on it.
All right,
yeah.
so it does.
Pretty cool.
It does help then.
It absolutely helps, because awareness is everything in these cases. Because attribution is so difficult, awareness is everything. We have to be aware of what's going on.
Yeah, geez, that's good. I'll have to keep doing it then.
Yeah.
I'll send you some more. Let me talk about credit card fraud for a minute. And is that considered a cybercrime? I guess it depends on what aspect of the credit card stuff.
So if I physically steal your credit card and go use it, I would say no.
That's not
but
cyber.
I'll seize your phone, get a search warrant for your phone, and look through that and see you talking about stealing the credit card. Now, if you hack into an organization's network and steal the data, absolutely, it's a cybercrime.
Okay.
Right? If they use a skimming device where you go to an ATM and you swipe your card, insert your card, and there's a device on there that's recording your information, that's a cybercrime. Make sure when you go to these ATMs, cover the keypad. I always usually like wiggle the mechanism a little bit, because it shouldn't be loose at all. So if it's loose, I mean, that could be.
And that tells you that there's something on top of the normal one, right?
Right. It's covering the normal one.
Now, when you say cover the keypad, what do you mean, with your hand?
Yeah, so I always hide it. They actually say, usually on the gas pumps, they usually say, you know, cover it, just in case there's a little pinhole camera looking at the digits you're punching in.
Now, somebody was telling me the other day that people can walk right by you and take your credit card data, like just, you know, somehow skim it or something.
So one of the worst things somebody can do is, if you're out in the open using public Wi-Fi, let's say, and don't ever use public Wi-Fi or airport Wi-Fi to do banking or financial transactions or buy something, because that is going right through the air, all that data in plain text. And if I'm using a network packet sniffer, I'm reading all the packet. I can sit there on my laptop, you know, and sniff the network and see these packets coming through. And sometimes you'll see in plain text, username and password, and I got you.
Yeah. Now, I remember in the past, like several years ago, they used to say if there's a little, in the website, when you're dealing with a real company, there's a little thing on the left-hand side, like a lock, I think, on the, and they're supposed to be
HTTPS is secure.
Is that still a valid thing to look for?
For the most part, yeah, you absolutely should look at that. You should be doing, so you could go to like the front end of a website with no sign-on page, and it's just HTTP. If you click on the sign-on page, you'll see it switch to an S. You want to see that. You want to see that it's a secure site. It's been
okay. So
certified
most of the legitimate sites will have that then, probably.
Yes. Yep. When you're going to sign in, when you're going to sign in and enter your information, you want to make sure it has HTTPS. Okay.
I guess it really bothers me that somebody could walk by with some kind of electric scanner and just. Now the thing is, somebody was saying you can somehow block that if you with certain like. Things you put your card in. You ever seen those? I mean, I've never seen those.
I haven't. I know. I mean, there are definitely devices out there that can do it. Because
I guess the other thing is many cards have chips now.
Yep.
Are chips safer?
Yeah. So chips are definitely safer. They're EMV chips. It's EuroPay, MasterCard, and Visa. The card should have them now. Without them, it's a magnetic strip on the back of your card that has the data, your account numbers embedded right on it in plain text. The chips actually embed that account info on the chip in the circuits, and it scrambles it. So it's scrambled and it's dynamic. So when you put the chip in, it's so much more secure, and it changes every time. So the organizations should be using the chips. Okay, so if you go to some place that you still have to swipe, even with a card with a chip on it, I guess we should be telling them to get your chip readers, right? Yeah. So to my understanding, the liability comes into factor in that part. So if the organization isn't using the technology that is offered to them through the card, then they're kind of taking liability for that instead of the credit card or debit card company. I think that's the key, because that's what I've never seen. I've never seen somebody like Ocean State Job Lot or somebody taken to court because their system allowed this fraud to happen. So it's like nobody's taking responsibility for this thing. Very true. And as you say, it's very difficult. These things seem to be very difficult to catch someone. I guess a large part because many of them are started or go through some overseas site. Is that? Yeah, so they'll use, like I said before, the things like the Onion Router Tor. So it just goes through router, through another router, through another router. So you really can't trace it. Yeah, it's so difficult. But so what I was also saying was the new law, the Network Notification Breach Law. I mean, I think those are steps in the right direction to kind of put some of the responsibility on these companies and organizations, because you better start securing your networks. This is happening. Like I said, two types of people, those that have been hacked and those that don't know they've been hacked. Everybody's hacked. Everybody's been hacked. So you got to get on it. You have to secure your networks, and you have to protect people's information. Yeah. It's a scary world out there, really. Yeah, it is. I guess the reason that we never see anything in the paper about so-and-so being sentenced to 6 years in jail, are there jail sentences? I mean, are these considered serious enough crime? It's just like robbing somebody, really. Yeah, so on our state level, cases like child pornography, solicitation cases, those, I mean, the sentences depends on the criminal history. They may do some time. It's felony, so they could get, over a year in jail, 5 years, I think, for child pornography. But typically, first-time offenders will get like a suspended sentence and the sex offender registry. Yeah. Now, if you're talking about network breach and stuff, yeah, they're felonies. But again, it's so difficult to track them. It could happen. We've, done it before. On a federal level, most certainly they'll probably do some jail time. Yeah. If they're able to well, I mean, this whole thing is playing out on the national level with the Russian hackers and all the rest of this stuff. But and I think we can all understand and see how difficult it's got to be to enforce any kind of law. And even that, there's the debate, well, is it Russia? Is it China? Because they're using, they're looking at the way the programs are made, right? If it's like a Russian-based keyboard or a Chinese keyboard, stuff like that. So because the IP address is going to be unreliable because it's going through so many different routers. Do you have any like general tips
for preventing cyber crimes or for being careful or something?
Yeah, so remember, you know, these criminals scour the web for your information. They'll look at, you know, all your social media sites, your LinkedIn.
They can Google you, I guess, right?
Just Google somebody, and you can get their information. And they'll use that information against you by like social engineering, the con games they play with phishing attacks. So make sure you are aware of what's going on. Make sure you don't give out your password. Don't have it as your dog and your dog's birthday.
You got me, my dog's birthday. Just kidding.
I was actually doing a presentation at Salve Regina on this, and I asked the student in the class, Michael, so what's your dog's name? Okay, yep. What's your dog's birthday? And sure enough, that was actually her password. So she had to go back and change it. But you know, use long, complex passwords. Be cautious every single time you have to enter information onto a device. I mean, that's the best thing I can tell you. You have to be aware.
Yeah.
Because remember, they will take things such as this and use it against you. I just posted on our Facebook page the other week about the Facebook quizzes going around. There's a new article that came out and said that criminals are making up Facebook quizzes, allowing for you to enter your information while you're taking the quiz, and that's the way they're getting you now. Because how can you resist doing a quiz on?
Yeah, with all your friends on social media.
Right.
Sure.
So hey, it's Portsmouth This Week quiz. Let's go click on that, and sure enough, I would.
Okay, guys, it's going to be a scary world out there. I'll tell you. Who can people contact if they think they've been scammed, phished, whatever?
So most banks will require a police report, so they can and should contact us.
So there's a value, even though there's chances are nobody's going to be prosecuted for contacting you guys.
Yeah, because most will require like a matter of record type report for us.
Okay.
Again, I like to be contacted so I can make others aware of what's going on.
Sure.
I usually check like the Better Business Bureau site, the Federal Trade Commission site. They're always up to date on scams. But definitely contact us, and we actually have a guide written out that we can provide to people to what they should do if something like that has happened to them and they actually lost money through a scam.
Yeah. We just had your information up there, the telephone number for the police, and also your your email address.
Excellent. Yep.
So I think you can expect certainly some more from me. Mike, we've only got about a minute left, but I wonder if you could talk briefly about the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force that you're involved in.
Sure. So the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, otherwise known as ICAC, it's a multi-agency task force with our main mission to protect children. We're made up of about 6 state police detectives, detectives from throughout the state. It's a Newport guy now as of last year, Cranston, Pawtucket, North Kingstown. We have forensic analysts. And just to give you an idea how busy we are, in 2015, we had about 110 arrests.
Wow.
328 forensic analysis, 661 complaints, and 252 technical assists.
Now these are cyber crimes
yes.
with children as the victims, primarily.
Yeah, and this year right now we're already on track to keep on going with those numbers higher.
Mike, we're out of time, but thanks so much for coming in. You'll be hearing more from me, and appreciate the job you're doing.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us today on Portsmouth This Week.